So I'm going to move into the questions about East Cleveland.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
It's interesting though that I was able to meet a fellow classmate of an old East Cleveland alumni, Mr. Burrows. I don't know if you got to meet Mr. Burrows, Clayton Burrows.
oh yeah.
Clayton Burrows, he was the principal for Superior Elementary School
Superior, yeah.
for a while, and he was actually like I don't know if he was a brother of Mr. Paul Jones, who was my principal at Prospect. They were, I think they were like, I don't say Alpha Kappa, the fraternity brothers, but frat brothers, but they were really cool. They also talked a lot, so that's how I got to meet Mr. Burrows, because my principal, he came to my school, and he knew my mom. My mom worked for him, of course, and but actually it was interesting to know that he was the prime king, most athletic, most popular guy at Shaw. But the year he came out, I forgot the actual year he came out, but one of my buddies actually were associated with working at Progressive Field. He's a Caucasian brother. He's of Lithuanian, some German descent, but and a few other ethnicities. I don't want to leave any of them out. But his father went to school with Mr. Burrows. He's actually was from Haiti. Back when when East Cleveland was still just becoming mixed. And pretty much he was, and I met his father. I was out there in Menor at their house off some like private type of estate, and he showed me his 20-year reunion. They gave them a DVD. Was a tape and a DVD, because it had to be adapted to DVD, but it was a VHS of showing East Cleveland and how green it was. It was very, very green. East Cleveland was very green, a lot of trees. He showed me Shaw High before they added on the vocation. When it was just the tech and it was just the academy. It was just the first couple parts of Shaw High School. He showed me that. He showed me the bowling alley. He showed me pretty much, he is documentation of East Cleveland before things changed. Back when it was still really more so the great demographics. Everyone worked here, had a job in East Cleveland or worked out of East Cleveland but paid taxes. Because a lot of our tax dollars leave East Cleveland with these gas stations, with the Arab brothers and brothers who speak Urdu and Arabic, who are not necessarily East Cleveland citizens. They're all living in Avon Lake or out in Menor and Cleveland Heights, who also take our money and go there. So now the tax dollar changes. So our demographic lessons, as well as the brothers like myself who are currently unemployed. So now the tax dollar that I actually brought to the table is not there. So it's like, a lot of that, but he showed me a lot of that, the life of East Cleveland and how it looked and how things were before today. And that was actually, what, 4 or 5, about 6 years ago when I seen that video.
So, it was, because I think they showed that at the library.
It's a possibility.
And it showed the change? Did it begin to show when when black people started coming?
It showed
the video?
somewhat, it showed more so, it had no negative light as far as just showing like now how bad it's gotten. It was more so showing just how great it was. And it kind of made you more patriotic as far as just being from East Cleveland. It made me respect being from East Cleveland a lot more. It made me feel like as if I stood for more than what you see and what people allow themselves to put out there to present. Because East Cleveland was a very, very strong community for a while. I didn't know. I heard it was more so predominantly white, but then as I got to see the video, it wasn't. By that time, it wasn't. Yes, ma'am.
Because I have to change my camera stops.
Okay.
Stop recording? Yeah. Okay, so today is July 9th, and we're continuing with Sulaimon Boxley. So Sulaimon, tell me about your earliest memories of East Cleveland and what it was like then.
Well, it was really magical because if you take a look outside now, it's not as many trees. It's not as many trees. There was a lot more shade, a lot more greenery. It was a very, very happy time for me in my life as well as the city, because our festivals, our parades were a little more vibrant. We had more people, of course. More people were in attendance. Let me see. Like our counties had better produce. Our corner stores, of course, like Leslie's down the corner of in between Roxbury and Farmington, black-owned establishment, but they were thriving still. I mean, he rents it out now, but they were still thriving. A lot of our businesses weren't closed. I mean, I've seen a lot of businesses come and go, but the people overall, I think, had a little bit more sense of pride, personally. They kept their yards up. People's grass was green. They kept their dogs in their yard. The children had a little bit more security as far as just, like on my street here on Roxbury, you could leave your children on the street and be outside with other children. Someone's parents going to ask where you come from, and they're going to feed you. And they make sure you're all right. They'll take you out the street. There's a little bit more of a guidance over here as far as just how we commute as a community on the street. But the city was a little bit more like that. I remember running into neighbors or friends in school, and their parents, we call it the blowdown, where they say, what are you doing? You using profanity, or what? They always pretty much check us. Parenting. There was a lot more parenting involved. It's a little different. I mean, some of the substance abuse from the city, just different residents of the city, the whole, somewhat just the crime, that kind of took a toll on the city more so, as far as just even with the politicians and the government or local government, as well as just the community, the residents. So it took a toll on the residents. My earliest memories though, were when they had to walk up the street, which was saying like a very long street at the time, and just seeing nothing but trees. It was never really ever really hot. It was always a nice like a calming breeze blowing. And then my neighbors, walking down the street to a lot of my neighbors, there's a lot more children. A lot more children. And it weren't children having children too, by the way. There's a lot more adults with children.
What are your fondest memories of East Cleveland?
It depends. I have a few. Well, we had some. I don't want to necessarily call it on record the Love Fest up at Forest Hill Park. I remember we used to have the Lord Have Mercy Festival up there as well, which a lot of other cultures and ethnicities and religions and backgrounds would get together and praise God, praise the universe, praise just the Creator and the Mother Earth more so. Just being around people, being around family, like extended family, for people like yourself, people like Sister Krishna Dini, just other people's families, and involving ourselves in something that's bigger than us, which is the community, the people. East Cleveland's Love Fest, of course. We used to have that down on Lee Road and Superior. Lee Road and Euclid. I don't want to say Superior. Lee Road and Euclid, right there by the shrimp boat and McCall's. A motel down right by the Y. It was a good time for East Cleveland and me because everyone got together. We had vendors. Of course, the people possibly might not have had jobs or did have jobs, or accumulating extra capital. It was a lot more happiness, man. People were smiling more. Overall, I've seen people smiling more. Now, my brother comes back from California. He lives in California, and he says he gets on the bus and people clutching their purses. He said Cleveland seems very cold. East Cleveland seems very cold, and it's kind of sad because I have to agree with him. I smile, I gesture and greet people all the time, and only a few people truly understand what that means, what I'm doing. Some people think there's something wrong with my chest. But in psychology class, when I was at Cleveland State, I noticed a lot of different ways people greet and traditions that other people have, and that was one of the most universal greetings. My father actually taught me it. When you humble yourself, you hold your heart, and you let people know, that they have your, how would I say, peaceful greeting more so, like salams. But those are my best memories just growing up. Now my greater memories are our block party we have and seeing the youth grow and aspire to do great things for real.
So you described changes that have happened over time. So,
well, we had a lot of crime as far as our somewhat downtown of East Cleveland, which is considered from Superior all the way down about Lee Road, just about considerably, because that's where more so a lot more business were at, and that's kind of where the town center is at. We lost a lot. Like our Pizza Hut's gone. Our Burger King's gone. We had 2 black dentistries in East Cleveland. They're gone. We're still holding on to the, I would like to call it the Bible shop, right there off near Emily and Forest Hill, where they sell keys. They would remake your keys, copy your keys. They sell pest control products now. They still sell things, the novelty things. Pretty much, it's went down. Demographics have lessened, of course. People stop supporting our own businesses, our black businesses. People overall become programmed with this materialistic ideal that they have to have Jordans, they have to have polo. I like polo. But I don't wear enough of it to the point where I'm breaking my bank and going broke wearing it. I shop reasonably and grab items, go to clearance and everything like that. But people are more so stuck in that mindset, and they kind of lose control with their spending, their habits. So the city lacks because nowadays you don't have a lot. and people don't do a lot. Because you can go outside and on my street, you might find some trash. You go to the next street, you'll see a lot of trash. Go to the next street, you might not see as much trash because the people are kind of gaining control of such. But a lot more things of that nature. Like I spoke to a lot of other residents in East Cleveland when I went to the Memorial Day Parade, which started at Windermere and it ended at a little past Noble, on a street past Noble. I forgot the name of it, near across from that church at some community center. I went to Rallies to get something to eat. I was hungry. So as I'm walking, I finished my food before I got to Shaw, and I'm trying to throw my trash away. I couldn't throw my trash away for the whole length of the parade. And it was kind of sad knowing that, our demographics have changed and certain monies are being granted to our city. But that's one of my biggest concerns, as well as other people's concerns, as far as our public safety, our public sanitation. Like, we don't even have, we have to we contract Rumpke to do our trash now. We don't even have an institution where East Clevelanders are given an opportunity to work for that. So I would definitely take a position in that, as well as the water company. I had a buddy who went to Maple Heights High School, middle school with me, and he actually was alumni at Cleveland State as well. And he's working for East Cleveland Water. Now he has to work for, I hope he's still with them, but Cleveland Water. They took over. We don't have our own water company. Things of that nature where our city suffers and we lose more so. Like they're talking about, they're trying to basically take up the park. Cleveland Heights is going to take, they're going to take the park, but they don't want to take the library. They don't want to take this side of East Cleveland. They'll take some of the residents in the top of Superior Hill as Cleveland Heights residents, but they don't want to come down the hill. They want to let Cleveland take that, but Cleveland doesn't want it. There's like so much of that. Well, do East Clevelanders want East Cleveland? A few of us have been speaking out, as well as yourself, because we trying to keep it going because it's regentrification coming in, and then also it's just progress. And we need more so progress, but positive progress. We don't need to move each other out, scare each other out, make it so people don't feel like there's any hope. Because for a second, that's why I was telling you, I thought people were coming in and buying all these houses to tear them down. In reality, I didn't know that they weren't doing that. Me being a man of my age, I've been looking into home ownership myself, and working all these years for different people. And a lot of young people don't know, you work for a company for a certain amount of years, they take out health insurance on you. So not only are you retired, but they take, when you retire, and if you die, they get that money from your life. So it's almost as if you work for pretty much yourself, but they get paid off of you still. And like you don't really gain too much from that. And knowing that I would like to be a resident of the city for most of my life, if God helps me and wills it, and I will as well. But those programs that you were telling me about, as far as just being able to bring back to East Cleveland, because we need that here. We need more people who own the residents. I thought police were to serve and protect the community. In reality, police serve and protect property owners. Me walking down my street, they'll question me and they'll put me up against a wall or a tree or make me lay on the ground just because they thought I was a drug dealer.
Has that ever happened to you?
I've been harassed a few times, but I haven't been like stopped because I know how to speak a little bit, and then also I carry myself. My pants are up. I mean, I didn't happen to just wear polo. A lot of people wear polo now. That's kind of like a fad. So drug dealers wear expensive clothing now, so you gotta watch yourself. But it happens. It happened to my brother a few times coming from Case Western Reserve campus because he's going to Cleveland Institute of Art, where he's been harassed because he's black and he's carrying his portfolios and his laundry bag, and he has a trench coat on, and he dresses nice and he smiles. He's been harassed. I've been harassed down Cleveland State off of Euclid coming from a hotel by some cops that said a few racist things to me. I refused to repeat, and I had to control some of the younger brothers who were around me that knew me. We were even having issues. One of them told me that I was a bad person because I left East Cleveland. Well, all I really did was moved out of my parents' house, got me an apartment downtown, and went to college. And he didn't understand my advancement and my progress in my life didn't mean that I forgot about everyone else. I was just trying to find my way, and now I'm back. And just like everybody else, you have to give back. Once you gain something, you have to give back, because that's the cycle.
So, what do you think contributed to the changes that have taken place in the city?
Well, like the saying says, we the people by the people. More so the people.
You didn't have on the mic.
Y'all are twins. God is good.
What do you think contributed to the changes you described?
More so, like I say, we are the people by the people. More so for the people. That's pretty much the city resides of residents, and it starts with our residents, of course, in our city, East Cleveland, and as well as Cleveland. Lack of education, knowledge of self, Those things contribute because you have some people that contribute to the crime, and they have a lack of self, knowing that they should be determined to do other things than just that. And by doing so, committing crimes, you take away from the city. You take away from your people. You take away from what the norm is. And now it becomes normal that you don't have businesses. You don't have people able to make money in your city. And that kind of lessens our demographics to a degree. Once we lost pretty much our water company, we lost our trash division, we lost a lot of like different commercial properties as far as like I was telling you, Pizza Hut, Burger King, all those different street offices, a few funeral homes, just different establishments such as those, where other East Cleveland residents were working there, and as well as other residents who were working in East Cleveland, that contributes to our demographics, and that kind of lessens and hurts us. So then when you have politicians trying to get paid, because they're all politicians and they do a service, they provide a service to gain capital, to reassert their lifestyle, it hurts them. And then I guess don't get me wrong, I don't want to give any excuses for some of the crooked politicians we've possibly had, well not possibly, that we've had in our city. I don't want to contribute to any of their excuses that they had, but that's possibly, when the money's not there, they don't get paid. Because we pay them. Our tax dollars pay them. Our tax dollars pay the East Cleveland Police Department, our fire department, our water department. I don't think we have any other industry besides those as far as that we contribute with our tax dollar. But the RTA, those things, our tax dollar contributes to those things, but we kind of lack in that when our demographics are low. We don't have as much of that. Also, just the people. You have people walking down the street, have no care for their society, care for their city. They throw their trash on the ground. But like I said, we need more trash cans though. We need that. Because if we push that more and we actually get people fines for that, like they're giving people fines for not having bus passes. Give a person $100, $2,000 fine for throwing some trash on the street. There won't be no more trash on the street. Teach people about washing their hands every day. Make sure it's hand sanitizer around. People don't take care of themselves enough. We need more health education. Sex education is already around because it's birth control watching your niece. It's birth control watching your brother. That's birth control technically to a degree because it makes you understand now your time's being taken up by something that you didn't contribute to. And when you do things yourself unprotectedly, it hurts you. You know what I'm saying? And then that hurts a lot of us. Everybody's not working. A lot of people aren't working in our city. A lot of people are doing other things.
So I just want to make sure I understood what you're saying. Regarding the politicians, were you saying that part of the reason that politicians have done crooked things
because our money's not
they
here.
weren't making the money they were supposed to be making?
I believe so. I mean, how do they get paid? In other words, to me, because if there's no money in the bank, then you can't draw from it. Okay. And if our tax dollar generates that, and we're not creating that and keeping that abundant, then it's going to be hard for the cities to thrive. Other cities like University Heights or Beechwood or Pepper Pike or even the Cleveland Heights, where they have a set standard and they implement those standards amongst all residents, where your yard can't be a certain length of grass. Your grass had to be a certain manicure level. There was a time where our sidewalk couldn't have so many cracks in it, and we had to redo our sidewalk. They don't implement such things anymore. And then also, when they did implement those things, they also gave us a service or helped us do it and made you pay a certain amount of it, prorated you and helped you do so. But we don't have those same institutions like we had before, and if they are, I don't see them. They're not as evident because a lot of times our streets have, like Lakeview, was a lot of bumps on the street where they say they're doing work, and they've been doing work for about almost 10 years now on that same street. But yet you have condos put up, and it took them less than a year to put those new condos up, but yet that street is still struggling. Which I almost thought they were like buying into the tire companies because we're running out of tires and brakes and everything else. But like I've seen my father's cars be mutilated by the streets. But I think that takes a toll on our demographics, totally.
How has race or racism impacted you personally, and how has it impacted the city?
It's a little different now because, like I say, they're trying to do a regentrification thing now where they're bringing other monies in, which brings other ethnicities back into our East Cleveland residents, because it was a time where it was very mixed. And East Cleveland wasn't just blacks. It wasn't just the few Caucasians or white people that we have in the neighborhood. It was more so just mixed. It was just one way. Now, because for the last, maybe I would say 21 years, maybe since I've been here, it was black orientated, more so black people in East Cleveland, and that's kind of what was going on. People were nervous to come back in. They'd seen the crime, they hear about the crime, they heard about some of the wrong that was going on in the city, so it keeps people away. So that's also affects our demographics. Once again, no one's coming to our Family Dollar. No one's coming to your, I'm not gonna say McDonald's, but our dentistries. The Case Western Reserve students are probably going to Case, of course, because it's probably a little easier to get your teeth done there because they have the prorate programs to the students. But a lot of things fail from that. You don't have a lot of more dollars coming in. People, it was to a point where people wouldn't come to visit me in high school because, oh, you live in East Cleveland. Oh, East Cleveland's bad. No, you just haven't been to East Cleveland. You're only hearing from somebody else's bad experience because they went down some wrong street where some wrong resident or a resident who probably wasn't even from East Cleveland done some wrong, and it puts a bad name on East Cleveland. People who've come to East Cleveland since I've invited them, they like East Cleveland. It's very low key, it's very quiet. Only thing you have to deal with pretty much is our police are on high alert. and I'm not mad at that, just being honest with you, because my niece can go outside and play safe. I don't have to worry about anyone shooting. We only had a few incidents where I've heard shooting, and I even responded just to make sure everything was cool, because we don't have that. The community's not supposed to allow that. You're supposed to have neighborhood watch. You're supposed to be raising your children so they're not accumulating, they're not a part of that accumulated crime, that wave of that.
So, okay, back to the question of race. I mean, if this
I mean,
has not impacted you,
not necessarily.
okay.
Not necessarily. I mean, we've had a few incidents where a neighbor, another resident of East Cleveland or two, kind of puts that out there. These black people, this, that, and the third. They put that on the internet, and they made it very much public. That's how they feel, and they're trying to express that to other people who are business owners or people who are potential buyers of residencies here in East Cleveland. You know, just to buy houses or whatever, which also helps our demographics as well, because we need more doctors, more homeowners, lawyers, nurses. We need more people who are willing to take care of the city.
So this neighbor was saying,
I mean, in a nutshell, look at the black people in East Cleveland. Look what they're doing. They're not taking care of it. Let's take care of it. Let's just come take over, pretty much. And that was a nutshell. We'll say it. But since then, some of that was taken down. But some of the pictures and the other comments that they put on the same picture on different websites are still up. But that's more so how it's affected me. Other than that, no, it hasn't really affected me in East Cleveland, because we come from more. We have, you know, brothers like Ed Parker, the artist, who bring a certain light to our city. We have other people like Cummins and Davis who bring a certain light to our city. I heard they were talking about moving at one point. I'm praying they don't, because we need that. Not just the demographics, but we need those businesses, because when my friends die because of crime or just natural causes, that's where we go. We support Cummins and Davis because they support us. When we need notaries done, we go to Cummins and Davis. And when you don't have that kind of relationship with the businesses in your community, it lacks. It becomes like with downtown at 55th through, was it 30th or 22nd with the lower end poverty labor, the projects, whatever. It becomes like that. We just have pretty much people in houses. And it's just houses, no businesses. And you have to drive a quarter mile or a mile just to get to a business to spend your money, to patronize.
so has racism impacted you, not just in East Cleveland, but in any other ways?
Yes, to a degree. I mean, when you have knowledge, you're supposed to share it. When I was at Cleveland State, a lot of times at the institution, it was things that I need to know. And if I wasn't in a certain clique or knew a certain amount of people, some white people wouldn't tell you about it. And those opportunities that I've missed because of such. And then also in other places where I've been harassed by some of these Cleveland police officers and on-duty and off-duty police officers. Even I've been affected by some black ones as well. But just it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you're not brought up like that. When you're brought up to be about love, because that's the highest level of enlightenment, is love. To share that, to know that, to experience that, and to pass it on is the highest level. But when it's not like that, and it has to deal with an individual thing, when they single out one particular thing, that you're too tall, or you're too smart, or you're too fast, or when they do those type of things where they kind of separate those things and have this particular incident be race, that's when it becomes hard, because a lot of us weren't raised like that, and you're not born that way without being taught it. It's a learned thing.
And then has inequality impacted you personally, and if so, how? And how has inequality impacted East Cleveland, if it has?
Let me see. That's a really good question. As far as just East Cleveland inequality, the way people speak about our city, so we don't get the same opportunities. And then being from our city, if you don't present yourself in a certain light, which is most likely the positive light, which is the light you're supposed to be shining, but if you don't do that, then you become a part of the statistic of what people say about our city. And the reason why we don't get opportunities, and that part of the equality, like where we don't feel equal, where we don't have as much, and we like it's education. People have to educate themselves pretty much, and because we don't educate ourselves enough, we do fall victim to some of those inequalities, where you can go to another neighborhood and they have more knowledge of their city and how the city works, so they utilize their city more. Well, like we're learning to do more so over here on this side of town, where we learn how to do things as a block or do things as a community, where we're allowed to congregate and do things. It might take just a permit, but in other cities where I've been, where they didn't have those opportunities because we were black. I mean, I've been to Maple Heights, and when I first got to Maple Heights, it was a little more racist. It was a lot more Italians, and they didn't really like the blacks. And if you were Indian, your parents told you not to talk to a black. They told you to talk to every other race. And then last, if you had talked to an African, then talk to an African, but don't talk to a black. They almost like segregated us from our own race. It's a little weird, but that's I mean, to a degree. I mean, it hasn't really affected me all the way because I don't allow it to. Try not to let it.
Okay. Can you recall a memory or times when the community fought for something?
Oh yeah, all the time, every time, all the time. Let me see. One of my favorite memories. Let me see. Which was it? Well, I know particularly back when in the early 90s, when a lot of young children were getting murdered or robbed for their clothing. Those were really powerful times. It was sad times because a lot of people were dying. A lot of community brothers who were older than me, who were possibly could have been close to 40 now. Some of them were 35 by now. They died when they were 11, 15, and 12 because they had on starter jackets or tennis shoes or just the gang violence. And the community got together and we stood up and spoke about those things, made it so that it was very, very much in the public eye that this was going on and made everybody aware of it. Now, right now,
where did you speak? Where people?
Everywhere. I mean, I've seen we had rallies with the Civic Center during Kwanzaa. They had to make sure they had a portion of that. People would speak about it at the Love Fest, Glenville Festival, different festivals. I mean, of course, a lot of these are more black-oriented festivals, even though it's not like they're limited to just blacks. It's just those are the people who are aware of them and conscious of them, just like we have the science fair downtown where a lot of black people start, more people come, just people come, but you don't see a lot of black people there. There's a lot of black people who go to festivals. They like festivals, free things, you know what I'm saying, just like everybody else. But you don't see them there because they're not aware of it or not conscious of it. But those kind of events, more people speak about it. We have we congregate amongst our own, just as of all people do when there's a passing in your community. We had a passing, a real sad tragedy a few years back where a colleague of mine, he was also a local musician. I taught him how to airbrush when he was at Cleveland, at Shaw High School in commercial arts. I showed him how to work the airbrush. He was just getting into that the year after I was graduating. He was going into that program, the commercial arts program and the vocation. And we became friends over a while, a long period of time. I'm a few years older than him, that brother. But when he had passed, he had an untimely death. And the community got together and when we spoke about it, and it's still a little unclear. Yeah, he was murdered by associate, but it was unclear the motives of the murder. To our knowledge, it was an accident. So we speak of it as an accident, but only a few people know. So everybody has to live with that. But it was a little sad. But without saying, everybody got together. Phones rang. Some people just wake up and you just normally go to the store to get something. Maybe some people smoke, they get a cigarette or a mild or whatever they're smoking, and they go to the store. Some people go, you just congregating, going through your neighborhood, doing your daily routine, going your way to work, and you see 20 people walking down the street sad and crying. It's like, what's going on? Then you call in and say, well, I gotta be late to work. My cousin's gone, because that's kind of how it happens a lot of times. A lot of us are like family, and a lot of people around here have, are actually really family too, as well. Because on this street, we have a few families on the street that pretty much are the family. You have Mr. Cockfield and his sister who stays across the street, Mrs. Harrison. That's his family, a brother and sister. And then up the street is her son, and across the street is her nephew. And then Mr. Moore down the street, his sister stays on the street. Yeah, another child was staying on the street at one point. The Martins, which had another tragedy not too long ago on 421. My good friend Leah Martin, she was a part of an car accident where she hit the cushion off a ramp on a freeway. But you know, everybody gets together. It happens really fast whenever any kind of issues like that. If there's any issue of violence or if a child is missing, anything happens, you know, it comes together. But those memories are more so few now because not as much goes on. But they stick out. They stick out.
I just want to clarify briefly, if you could just speak briefly about what you just said, and when you were saying that the gunshots, you know, that you don't hear that. Were you saying that you used to hear it?
Yeah, you used to hear it a lot more. I mean, it's amazing now because you have a lot more gun owners now because you can legally own a gun now and you can be certified. So I guess it gives people a certain sense of protection because it was a time where East Cleveland police, you know, they weren't as on it because there weren't as many of them. Of course, we had that change happen, take upon our city. And then our demographic as far as just paying them weren't as high. We had high demand for them. We didn't have a high resource as far as capital to pay them. So we didn't have a lot of police officers. So it was a lot more crime. So now they kind of took a hold of the crime to a degree. Now you don't have as much as that. And then also, on this side of the community, the children are the adults now. And we're having our children. And so we keep a constant watch of that. What are you doing? Why is it was a time where you might have gotten a scuffle or a fight, a fist fight, and you kept on with your life. Now people are killing you because they don't have money or they're scared to go get a job or scared to sacrifice something in their life to go take that initiative to get a job, which usually is like they can't pass a drug test or they have felonies from doing something wrong early on. And a lot of that stuff, you know what I'm saying, hurts the community because you have gunshots and it's like, well, who's getting shot at? Well, you don't know until the next day at the news or if you're around. Like I had an issue on the street where a guy who wasn't from our street got into it with a guy who wasn't from our street. And they was at one of our residents' house. And me personally, I ran up the street to see what was going on. Okay. People thought I was crazy for that, but my niece was asleep in the car. Right. A stray bullet can kill anybody.
So you diffused the situation? To
a degree. I mean, my presence made the situation very, very like duly noted, and it made everybody kind of calm down. But then the police was called. Okay. We called the police, right. And the police came.
So then, regarding the police, would you say it's true that in the past, not only were there not enough police and they weren't getting paid, but there was some corruption amongst the police department? To a degree,
yes. I mean, I haven't had a lot of run-in with the police because me personally, I haven't had a lot of run-in with the police. I'm 28, 29 this year. I don't have any felonies. I don't have any children. So for me, I took the appropriate route to stay away from that. What does a police officer need to know my name for unless he's servicing me? I didn't have any need to interact with them. So now it got to a point where now, of course, their impact is very much so positive. I mean, I've had a few run-ins where a police officer, I guess, was feeling himself a little bit. He was a little, you know, felt like he was tough and wanted to speak out, like, you know, yeah, that's just you. Go on with your day, because that doesn't affect me. I didn't do anything wrong. You have to worry about me. I don't have to worry about you.
Okay, and we got, how have surrounding institutions and cities impacted East Cleveland?
Well, let me see. Well, back when we had the Civic Center, and the Civic Center are more so our, what is it called, parks and recreations. It was, I mean, I speak on it. It was ran by Sister Cockfield back in the day. That's when it was. I know it was really more so booming. I don't know what she was.
About Carolyn Cockfield?
Yes, I don't know exactly what she was doing or what was programs particularly she was implementing, but I know for sure that a lot more was going on. And because like other cities like Cleveland Heights, they have their pavilion. It used to be the ice skating ring. They have the pavilion now. They have more parks up there. It kind of affects us because now, because we don't have as much of a resource, ours is not as open as much. And then also, it's not a membership thing. You have to pay $1, which is not that expensive, but you have to pay $1, and then you have to hope that they're allowing grown-ups to hoop, or the children's turn to hoop, or just different things of those natures. We outsource. We go to their parks. So it has to a degree impacted us. Other than that, I mean, a lot hasn't really changed too much. I mean, everything's getting better. Now, as far as just people coming in with outside help, as far as like Cleveland Clinic or University Circle, those institutions, they're actually going to impact and help us. Now, as far as what their direction is and what their intention is upon that, that's still to be known, at least for me, because I'm still uneducated and I'm not as aware as some other people who are more educated on that. But to my knowledge and to what I've seen, it's helping us. Because I know with a lot more of this construction they're doing, we have a lot more patrol, because they have to make sure those things are, taken care of, because, that's how it goes. But with that being done, it's not a lot of nonsense going on. People are more so conscious that you do something wrong, something's going to happen. But back when there wasn't a lot of police officers, and then you had the street Brightwood, which was a lot of traffic on that street, and they had to shut that down. Since that type of things have been shut down, they're shutting down a lot of those high traffic areas which crime exists. It helps the city.
What is your vision for a future of East Cleveland, and about the major issues that need to be addressed in order to get a better East Cleveland?
Well, first we have to start with our people. We have to start with our education, like as far as the different programs that assist the people that are offered by the city. A lot of people aren't aware of that. And then some people are they're in such a slump from just the past few years and the way the institution has been run, they don't want to hear nothing. They don't even care no more. They're to the point where they're just like, well, I'm just going to live, and then when my time comes, they're gone. But for the most part, everybody has to be more so aware of what's going on as far as the community. We need more young people like myself to speak out more, because it starts with us. It ends with us all, but it starts with us. The coming of age to being adults, and more so in that nature. Just because if we don't take care of our city, we're going to lose it.
So what do you want to see happen in the city?
I'd like to see more trash cans on every public, at least on a public main street. We should have a trash can at least every 2 to 3 blocks. I mean, I'm not saying walk a mile to get to a trash can. I mean, besides the Euclid Corridor project, we don't have any trash cans in East Cleveland.
Okay. And what would you be prepared to do to participate in making East Cleveland better?
Just about anything they offer, just being honest, because I'm at an age where I don't have too much to lose. I don't have a child, but I have nieces and nephews and neighbors and children of that nature who look up to me. And they look up and it's like, well, where are our resources at? And we have to provide. So pretty much whatever we're provided to utilize, to provide, most of us are pretty much willing to do, just being honest.
So you just need a little bit of like a direction.
Yes.
Okay. Anything you want to say briefly to follow up?
I love East Cleveland. I love Cleveland. I love the people. I would love to see it become more diverse and unified. I would love to see everybody come together and really give a great effort, like a great effort to make things better, because in China they don't sleep. In Japan they don't sleep. Education is all year round. They're constantly trying to make themselves better. Why can't we be like that? I mean, you have to take good examples of things that you want and make those in your life. We have to start teaching these children and stop asking them, what do you want to be when you grow up, and ask them, what are you? What things will you offer this world? Because it's not just about what the world offers you, it's what you have to offer this world as far as your talent goes, your intelligence, and things of that nature. And the more we see that happen, and we get that going on, the better world to be, just honestly.
Thank you, Sulaimon.
No problem, no problem.